Yeah, I've been studying mushrooms for about the past four years now, and their interaction with the body. And I guess it's been mostly the psychedelic mushrooms, but non-psychedelic doses. What kind of got me into that was, of course, you guys know I got paralyzed 12 years ago in a car accident, broke my neck, was working for the fire department, did the whole rehab deal and everything like that. And then went back to work for about six and a half years. And during that time, I just kind of kept up with, some of the science of what was going on as far as, spinal cord injury, research and everything like that.
At that time, was there anything groundbreaking happening?
Not really. So it's kind of funny, as I look back on my life, I've always been kind of surrounded by people in chairs. My aunt was in a chair whenever I was growing up. Didn't really know her whole story. And then one of my friend's dads was in a chair. Then knew a couple people, throughout. And it was always, one thing I always heard from them is like, science is only 10 years away from having this figured out. And so that was, 33 years ago when I first heard that. And so here I am, 12 years in the chair. And when I first got in the chair was, hey, science is only 10 years away from having something figured out.
Yeah.
So when I went back to work, I spent a lot of time behind a computer. Just, it's what my job was in. I did a lot of, I was a custodian of records. I also did a lot of, I was an instructor for the fire department, did some instruction with the rookies and everything. But during that time, I was also able to watch a lot of podcasts and, just kind of keep up with a lot of different things. So Paul Stamets, he's a mycologist, one of the top mycologists in America. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast.
He was on Rogan, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yeah. Very and cool. So he was talking about the neuroplasticity potential of certain mushrooms and everything like that. But then I was also kind of keeping up with the literature for PTSD, anxiety, depression, and everything else that they were really kind of studying it for. Yeah. Because I've dealt with that stuff. One, being in the chair, definitely can cause some depression and anxieties and everything. And PTSD is associated with the car accident, but then also two things dealing with in the past. I guess what really kind of sent me down this rabbit hole was I looked into mushrooms first for the PTSD. I wanted to deal with being able to drive again. Ever since my accident, I haven't really driven. And even
you even had like a hard time getting back in a car, like after the accident, right?
Yeah, it caused severe.
Mentally, like you couldn't do it?
Yeah, and so even driving past where my accident was would send me into a full-blown panic attack. Wow. And so anybody who knows about a panic attack, you start feeling it in your chest and it wells up and it's almost like a whole body experience. It's not really so much in the brain as it is a body response. Yeah. So looking into the mushrooms to try and deal with, some of those deals, just reading over the literature and everything like that, listening to, different things. But I never really read like other people's experiences. I wanted to go into it with kind of a fresh, like I didn't want to see like, what your experience was or what your experience was. I wanted to kind of have I kind of knew like what it was going to cause, but I wasn't really sure, to what extent.
The big thing was that you were wanting to go down this journey for the anxiety, PTSD of the car accident.
Yep.
And so that was number one.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then, too, in the back of my mind too, I thought, okay, well, maybe if I take these, if the psychedelic effect is big enough, maybe my body won't even realize that I'm paralyzed and it'll just start working.
Because the neuroplasticity is basically the brain rewiring itself, right, to function differently.
Yes. And I want to say, I think it was Michael Pollan who said it, and I'd have to double check this quote, but he said, especially with like psilocybin, think of it like a snow-capped mountain. You have all these different runs in there. As people start going down the runs, those runs get deeper and deeper and deeper. Well, those are the grooves that we kind of build up, like in our brain, our thought patterns and everything. So when you take these kind of psychedelic substances, it's almost like putting a fresh coat of powder on it. So you still have your run right there, but now you're not in those deep grooves of following those same patterns. Exactly.
Gotcha.
So it allows you to kind of look at it from almost like different perspectives and different, outside views of what your problem might be, and be like, oh, okay, this is how I can deal with it, instead of dealing with it on that same pattern that you had been. I got some mushrooms. It was a bag of mushrooms.
Just from like the mushroom guy.
Yeah, it seems like you always know somebody.
Yeah,
who
just know somebody that's the mushroom guy. Okay.
So I was like, all right, I'm going to try these. And, after reading everything, I was like, okay, 3 grams, 3.5, that seems to be like where I want to land, kind of figure, this out and everything.
And is that, so for anybody who doesn't know, is that more of like a microdose?
No. 3 grams, you're gonna have.
You're gonna feel something and see things, and
I think they consider that a museum dose. Like you're gonna.
What are the levels? There's like a microdose. Museum dose is next.
So like anywhere between 1 and 3 grams, I think is just like your kind of basic. You're going to have maybe some light visuals, like around like halos around lights and stuff.
Okay.
But then once you start getting into the 3 grams, that's where you might start experience like the geometric patterns.
Okay.
And things like that, more perceptual.
Once you're past 3 grams, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
I ended up doing 7 grams.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I think anything above 5 grams they consider like a
ultra
a
high dose.
Yeah. Why did you go from 3 to 7?
My scale was off.
Oh, so you just missed. So you accidentally did.
Yeah,
7.
I accidentally took 7
You
grams.
can't overdose from this stuff, right?
No. I think like the overdose is like it was something like 1.3 kilograms of mushroom. I mean, it's a ridiculous amount of mushrooms to try and overdose.
Well, like here, doses of psilocybin.
Oh, yeah.
He's in the dried mushroom category, so he's ultra high dose.
Ultra high dose.
By an extra 50%.
Wow.
5 grams.
Mm-hmm. So what happened?
It says, well, let's say, does it say, it says expected effects of an ultra high dose, complete disconnect from consensus of reality.
So is that accurate for you?
Did you take off in flight?
Probably one of the most profound, most beneficial, positive experiences I've ever had in my life. As far as like the psychedelic trip went, very enjoyable. Like,
really?
There's an oceanic wave effect to it. So it's not like I don't know, at least for me it wasn't. You would almost feel it coming on. And so like Emily was there just kind of like making sure like I didn't hurt myself, fall out of my chair or anything.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, hey, I feel another one coming on. And so like I would go into this space and then I would come back. And so like
is it like waves of like visions, or like is it waves like
anxiety,
like just, like,
excitement?
No. Like each wave brought like a new. And I mean, this was 4 years ago. And so like trying to go back on that.
Yeah.
And that was the cool thing about it too, is this one like big trip that I did, I haven't had a want or a need to go back and do it again, because
I've heard about that.
That one experience was so positive for me that I don't feel like I don't want to mess that one up.
It's like going hunting for the first time and shooting like a 14 point.
Yeah, and you're like,
kind of like,
I don't really need to ever do this again.
Yeah,
I kind of nailed it.
Yeah,
so let me ask you this real quick. Whenever you had done this accidental higher dose, did you know at the time that you took too much, or were you expecting that like these effects were from the however much you had planned on doing?
No, that was the thing, is like I really had no idea what the effects were going to be.
Okay.
And so
but you didn't do it and say, oh crap, I accidentally took too much and then felt all this?
No, and really the only way I found out that I did too much was I was like, all right, I don't need to do these again. So I gave them somebody else, and they weighed them. They're like, how much of these did you take? And I was like, this much? They're like, no. They're like,
wow.
Yeah, they're like, you probably had a lot of fun. And
wow. Okay, anyway, back to it. I'm sorry.
And no, it's good. One of the coolest parts about it, though, was it was probably about halfway through. I was like, I gotta go. I need to get cold. I was like, I need to cool down, and that's just something to do. It has to do with the serotonin system and everything like that. Especially with my spinal cord injury, I can't thermoregulate. So
interesting.
It can cause a rise in body temperatures. For me, especially, and I think other people experience, like flushing and everything else like that, but just a little bit different. Anyways, I was like, I need to find the coldest room in the house. And I was like, that's our playroom. I was like, and this is at night. I was like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to turn off all the lights and I'm going to shut all the windows and it's going to be really dark. And she's like, that doesn't sound like a good idea. I was like, this sounds like an awesome idea. So I went in there and I turned on a song. It was the coolest experience. The visuals that came along with the song. And that was one of the other things that I've learned about mushrooms too, is what it does with music. And I mean, it's just incredible. Anyways, that part, that was probably the most meaningful part of my whole experience was when I went into that dark room. Like I said, that song and mix it was almost like a total sensory deprivation. So anyways, I go through the whole experience and everything like that. But what really kind of sent me down my rabbit hole of studies and reading is before any of the visuals kicked in, my body went into spasms. And it was from my injury level down. And I don't normally have spasms with my injury. There are some people that take like baclofen and everything like that. No two injuries are exactly the same. And I thought to myself, all right, well, I'm going to die because I must have taken some bad mushrooms because my whole body mushrooms or my muscles are just going. My feet are jumping. And
were you like freaking out at this point, or were you still pretty?
Oh no, like it hadn't kicked in yet. So like the visuals, was before it even kicked in? So this was before any of the visuals or anything, and so that's what really kind of I was like. My body's spasming. And I called somebody. I was like, "Hey, has this ever happened to you?" Like, no, just chill out. Everything's gonna be fine. And then about that time, the visuals started kicking in.
Interesting.
So after that, like the next day, just kind of reflecting upon everything, I was like, "Why did my body go into spasms?" I was like, "This is what I got to figure out." So I've had a crash course in I don't even know. Like neurology, neurobiology, neuroscience, everything like that. So a lot of what they're studying right now has to do with the 5-HT2A receptor. The 5-HT system in our body is our serotonin system. There's 7 families and 14 subfamilies of these receptors. Now, these receptors are responsible for locomotion, nociception, anti-nociception, bowel, bladder, sexual function. Did I say locomotion? Okay. Just a myriad of functions. Gut motility, all these different things. And when I started reading, trying to associate spinal cord injury with serotonin agonists and everything like that, following an injury, there's a couple of specific receptors. I think it's 2A or 1A, 2A, and 2C that go from those locomotion patterns and everything like that, and they actually kind of reprogram themselves to functional motor recovery and muscle spasticity. So the muscle spasticity, when you apply a serotonin agonist to it, that's what caused my muscles to start jumping and everything. And so I thought, okay, well, if muscle spasticity is happening, then the latter should be happening too, functional motor recovery.
Yeah.
Because the muscle's moving.
Exactly.
So there's got to, Yeah.
And so then that's what kind of sent me down my whole reading about the different attributes of, especially kind of like just what all is affected by low serotonin. So if you just look up low serotonin symptoms. This is always cool.
Serotonin symptoms. So depression and other mood problems, anxiety, sleep problems, digestive problems, suicidal behavior, obsessive compulsive disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, and panic disorders.
So we see all this, and of course, now if you look up what it says to do to raise serotonin levels, it'll say eat different foods, tryptophan, complaining foods, get sunshine, exercise, everything like that. Okay. Mushrooms, especially some of these psychedelic ones, psilocybin mushrooms, so closely relate. If you look up psilocybin and serotonin, you can look at the correlation of just how closely related psilocybin is to serotonin. Basically, if you just take it at these non-psychedelic doses, it's almost just like you're taking a serotonin supplement.
And so a dose would be
anywhere from, and again, this is just me and what I've learned.
Sure.
And this is where I'm trying to look at all these different studies too, and trying to get some of my own studies started. I think that there's many different levels of the way that especially psilocybin is going to be worked with and studied with. So you're going to have these higher doses, those 3 to 5 gram doses. That's going to be more for your PTSD, anxiety, depression, treatment-resistant depression, everything like that. Okay. Those will be kind of more of your clinical settings, going with a guide and everything like that. Now, there's another level, kind of in between the 100 to 250 milligram level. That's kind of like what I take. That's what I consider my microdose.
Okay.
So 100 to 250 milligrams. And again, this would be more for people dealing with a spinal cord injury, stroke. It's a little bit higher dose for, say, a neurological disability or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like TBI, concussions, things like that. But then also, too, I truly believe in, again, the science is going to have to make it there, that it's going to help increase athletic physical performance. Because of its positive interaction with the serotonin system, I think it's going to have all types of positive benefits for neuromuscular junctions and
is there I know there's a bunch of tests and stuff going around right now, but do you think that eventually, and how long until it loses its taboo? Kind of like how cannabis finally lost its taboo, but is it on the horizon?
That's a really good question.
Do you think?
I think some really states? There are some states they've decriminalized it, but they're still looking at it from the therapy standpoint. I think once you truly decriminalize it and really recognize what the functions are for it, especially at these low doses, so many people could benefit just from a serotonin supplement. I mean, you're telling people to eat spinach, salmon, eggs, go outside, exercise, all these different things. Yeah. This can help people achieve that.
Quick.
Well, not even just quick, but we're already operating in a serotonin, at a deficiency of serotonin because our diets are poor, because we don't get outside and exercise. I mean, we spend most of our time inside under LED lights, looking at blue
lights on a computer and phones and everything. Yeah, it drains you.
Exactly. And so it's just a more natural way. And then too, I mean, all the different, there's so much science behind it that they haven't really looked at yet, that I'm hoping that it gets to that point.
Right.
And especially with the physical attributes. Now, granted, they're all looking at the mental attributes, but truly physical attributes are, that's where this medicine's really going to shine.
Yeah. Well, so you have been in this now a bit, and you've been in discussions with different universities, about doing some studies, on this yourself. What does that look like? Walk us through that.
I've actually just been, like I said, reading and kind of documenting what I've experienced as far as how it interacts with a paralyzed body.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I kind of have a unique perspective, because I don't have any kind of input from my brain coming down to tell my body what to do. I'm able to kind of see and recognize the effects that these psilocybin mushrooms have on those same receptors. Mm-hmm. And then, honestly, I forgot where I was going with it.
Well, have you noticed anything other than spasms? Obviously, you felt that. But has there been anything else that you've felt or witnessed?
Oh yeah. So pain relief, neuropathic pain relief is tremendous with it. So neuropathic pain is associated with the 5-HT2A receptor and the KCC2 potassium ion channel. And so when you apply a serotonin agonist, if you can even look up serotonin agonist and neuropathic pain.
Okay.
And so you're talking fibromyalgia patients. I deal with nerve pain on a daily just because it's part of the accident, part of my injury.
But when you take your microdose, does it subside for a little bit?
No, it takes away for anywhere from 8 to 10 hours.
8 to 10 hours is a pretty
pretty good.
Yeah.
Prior to, what was it, just 24?
I'm losing you.
I'm losing
your
still
voice.
lasts. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm losing his voice. Yeah.
Oh, and it still lasts.
We're back.
Pretty long after the fact, and there's not a tolerance that I build up to it. So I've been taking my 100 milligrams for almost 4 years after I kind of dialed in what worked for me.
Wait, can we talk about that can I do this?
You can do that. Yeah, just stay close.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that for a second, though? Because
Yeah, of course. You guys
there's,
ask me
there's
anything.
a lot of sounds like really good benefits from this, but the pain thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people out there are suffering from?
Just about every diabetic nerve pain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It would help so much
Yeah,
with
no doubt.
diabetic neuropathy.
Wow.
Is it being used in that context right now?
No, not yet.
Wow.
And that's one thing I'm really trying to help push for is say, look, it's so anti-inflammatory systemically. Psilocybin mushrooms, anti-inflammatory. Golly, I can't even remember all the different things.
I would have done anything. So when I had my nerve injury, I would have done anything to shut off the burning pain. And in fact, when I was in Hawaii, I had some guy sell me some CBD and some Delta 8, which I never took after seeing what it did to my wife. But
That's a whole other story.
But he said, take this CBD gummy and then wait like 2 or 3 hours and it should help with the pain. Well, I forgot the wait 2 or 3 hours part and I took like 3 of them. And I laid down in the bed and I thought the bed was swallowing me and I thought I was going to die because it was going to eat me. But the pain was gone, completely gone. And that was the first time in, I think, 3 months that it was completely shut off.
But you had to deal with
But so my
effects of
question
being
is
high.
this: is the pain being numbed, or are you literally in a different state of mind to where you aren't focused on it?
No. It's not even so much that it numbs the pain. And again, this is where true scientists are going to have to either tell me I'm wrong.
Sure.
So this is just my take on it. So especially when it comes to like fibromyalgia and like neuropathic pain and everything. From what I understand is that there's an upregulation of those 5-HT receptors. And so it's like they're just sitting there going, we need something. Mm-hmm. And so when you give it, especially psilocybin, you're not just, so like SSRI, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, they'll try and use those on, different neuropathic pain patients and everything like that. Well, they're only trying to address one specific receptor. And I mean, you have to give the body everything, so in that way it can pick and choose. So in that way it keeps the balance going. So
Gotcha.
Psilocybin has a binding affinity to all those different 7 families of those serotonin receptors. So if you have something out of whack with them, there's going to be some that are upregulated, maybe some that are downregulated. I don't know.
Yeah.
But when you give it everything that it needs, it's going to be like, okay, here, let's take this here, let's do that here, and now we're kind of back at homeostasis.
And that effect lasts for you about like 8 to 10 hours?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, I mean, even my pain then after that, I don't notice it.
Yeah.
But
And serotonin, for everybody listening, is the happiness drug too, right? Or the happiness chemical.
Serotonin makes you feel good. It makes you feel happy. Yeah.
There is no There is no post serotonin crash. It's different from dopamine, where dopamine's the pleasure one, and there is a drop, so you can get back to baseline. And so that nobody's ever been convicted of being too happy.
Yeah.
But there are pleasure whores that are become quite depressed because they're always chasing that dopamine hit. So it's different, and it's really important to note that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the body's going to metabolize that serotonin too, and it's going to be using up that serotonin. I mean, again, serotonin is used in our locomotion, our bowel, bladder, and sexual function. So it's constantly being used. And again, when you're talking about getting outside and getting sunshine. Okay, what's that? Vitamin D.
Yep.
Okay, well, vitamin D goes through the liver. Well, the psilocybin is metabolized by the liver. So I can tell you that when I take one of my doses, if I go sit outside, I feel way better because that vitamin D is interacting with the liver and everything like that. So I also take vitamin D just as my daily supplement with it, just so in that way it has a better, what would you say, catalytic, or I don't even know the word.
Like a carrier? Like, is it?
I think it just, I mean, again, because so many people are vitamin D deficient that it's just, when you take that with this, it's just
it's just enhancing
synergistic.
That. Sure.
But then too, I think it helps stimulate the immune system. I think there's a immune system stimulation or modulation through serotonin agonists.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And so I mean, there's so many benefits to it that we need to look more into that kind of research than just saying. It can help, PTSD and anxiety. It helps so much more than just that.
Do you think that it hasn't been studied in that capacity simply because of kind of the negative connotations around it?
No. I think it was because of the prohibition of the study of it for so long that now we're just starting to kind of realize what these things are capable of. Okay. Now, the other part of it too, though, is that these are cheap. And so having people pay to have some of these studies funded to actually get approved through the FDA is going to be a whole nother deal.
Sure.
But I think, legislation can be made and certain arguments can be made as just far as the, it's almost like taking a vitamin C instead of an orange.
So where are you at right now on your journey with doctors and scientists and trials and things?
I'm working with a team out of James J. Peters VA Medical Center in the Bronx, New York, and we're submitting a proposal to the SCRP, which is the Spinal Cord Injury Research Program, which is done through the CDMRP, the Congressionally Directed Medical Research Program.
Okay.
And so, I'm trying to remember them all.
You're pretty good at that.
Yeah, you are, man. Very impressive.
So, I'll be working with them. We're going to be doing a study using psilocybin for spinal cord injury patients and veterans and everything like that. We're still kind of going through what the protocol is going to be and what our outcomes we're going to be looking at and everything like that. Along with psilocybin, I also study chondroitinase, which chondroitinase is, and this is something totally different, but it's all part of the protocol that I've been working on as far as to try and heal spinal cord injuries.
Yeah.
So chondroitinase.
When you say heal,
yes,
what's the goal for you?
So I originally started using mushrooms to see what it would do as far as neuroplasticity and everything.
Anxiety, PTSD.
Yes.
Get back into the vehicle.
Sure.
So one, it's helped me with my depression. I don't drink alcohol anymore. Anxiety, I can load up into cars. I can even think about driving. I still don't drive. There's no need for me to.
Yeah.
But it has helped me on all those different fronts tremendously. And I'm so thankful for that as well. In terms of inducing neuroplasticity, once I saw that the spasms, started and I started learning about all these different receptors and everything, my thought process on as far as the mushrooms go was that now I'm applying a serotonin agonist or stimulating a response both above and below my injury level. So now I can see my muscles moving and everything. And I know that it does still cause a psychedelic effect at larger doses, but I have that break in between, or a so-called break in between transmission in my injury.
Sure.
So the injury, there's these cells, they call it scar tissue, but they're chondroitin sulfate proteoglycans, CSPGs. Now, these CSPGs, they go in after an injury, and there's more cells and there's more, things like that. But they kind of section off the injury, preventing further injury or infection and everything like that. But then they hang around. And these cells are inhibitory cells. So they stop any kind of regeneration in the central nervous system. And so that's what kind of blocks like any type of new nerves growing through or anything like that. So again, sitting behind a computer for 6 years, reading about stem cells, Schwann cells, everything like that, all those, they're trying to regrow nerves, regrow through the injury and everything. But you have you have something there saying stop. So I was like, all right, well, we got to get rid of those somehow. So chondroitinase ABC is an enzyme that comes from the Proteus vulgaris bacteria. This stuff's been studied for 2+ decades. It's been done in every type of animal model you can imagine, from a mouse to a primate.
Okay.
CHON.
Human studies or no?
No, not yet.
Gotcha.
And that's where I'm trying to come in.
That's where you're coming in. Okay.
CHONDRO, chondroitin. You got to add the ACE to it, ASE.
So what is this?
Wait, hold on. So they've done it in rats,
Well, they've done it in rats, they've done it in pigs, they've done it in dogs. So,
and it's worked.
oh yeah. So the dogs.
Wait, hang on. What's worked?
It's eating the scar tissue.
So it's actually removing the
It
scar
degrades
tissue?
the scar tissue.
No kidding. Wow.
So chondroitinase ABC.
What are they waiting on, man?
So chondroitinase ABC, it's an enzyme. At first, it was not thermostabilized, so it would degrade super fast at body temperatures. Now they've figured out that you can attach a sugar protein to it and it lasts longer. You got different labs trying different ways to address it and like introduce it into the body. But just to focus on this right here, chondroitinase. A 2017 study done by Dr. Nick Jeffrey. So he did a study on dogs back in 2017 with the University of Iowa and Texas A&M, where he injected 60, or he did a study using 60 dogs. Now these dogs were chronically injured. These were family pets. So these weren't dogs that they went out, procured, and hurt, the same way.
Sure.
So these were all dogs of different injuries and everything like that. So 30 of the dogs got just a saline injection, and 30 of them got the actual chondroitinase. Now, I think they used, condyliase ABC, which is pretty much the same thing.
Did these dogs have like spinal injuries? Was that
Oh,
the
yeah.
idea?
These were all
had
chronically
spinal-
injured,
I see.
spinal cord injuries.
Okay.
So out of the 30 dogs that he injected with the chondroitinase, condyliase ABC, he saw a 23% increase in coordination in forelimb and hind limb movement, but then 10% of them, so 3 of them, were actually start self-ambulating again.
What does that mean?
Start walking on their own.
Start walking on their own again?
And this was done what year? 2017?
I think the paper came out in 2017, but this article looked like it said from 2013.
What was the
Dude, that is
percentage
amazing.
of them that started to walk again?
10%.
10%.
Yeah. So
Wow.
But when you're talking to somebody, especially like a quadriplegic or something, our main goal isn't to start walking again. Like for me, if I got my hands back, just being able to move fingers or, be able to pick something up without having to use like tenodesis or anything like that. Because, it can be a little difficult to pick things up. But so I'm actually working with him as well. So this is
with Jeffrey Nicholas?
Yeah, so he's another project I'm working on that we're submitting
that's
to the DoD.
amazing.
Man, that is amazing.
And so this was that other project I was telling you about too.
What's their confidence levels like in getting it? I know you're submitting it, but like, do they give you feedback on confidence levels? Like, yeah, we can get this approved, or
I have no idea.
You don't
know? Nah, I'm acting kind of as a SCI consultant, consumer reviewer for them.
But you would be the first human if this was able to go through, right?
Well, so this is where my goal is. So Condyliase ABC, that's also known as Hernicore. So in 2018, can you look up Hernicore for me? Hernicore. This product right here, Condyliase, is being used for herniated discs. Now, herniated disc, granted, is different from a spinal cord injury, but they're using Condyliase ABC. So Condyliase ABC is they're injecting it into the nucleus pulpus of these discs, and it's actually reducing the amount of cells that cause the bulge in the disc space. Now, it's also the same kind of cells that are involved with spinal cord injury. So my goal is to find a physician in a facility that would be willing to try this out under the FDA's Consumers Right to Try It Act.
What is a Consumer Right to Try It Act?
So that's a program through the FDA that allows people to try drugs that aren't necessarily approved yet for human use.
Okay.
But can be used maybe in off-label applications. So since they're already using this enzyme right here that degrades the scar tissue, or not even scar tissue, but degrades the same cells within a herniated disc, I would like to introduce this into my spinal cord, either with a subpial injection, intrathecal, or some other form of injection. Just one, to prove safety and efficacy. But then two, to see what kind of return would come back, in conjunction of using it with the psilocybin in a physical therapy setting to induce those movements and everything.
Sure. In the study with the dogs, because I think that's just amazing. Was there a timeline on how quickly they began?
I think it was
recovery?
like 6 months, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, they did. Oh yeah, that's primate, so that should be Tazinski. Yep, Tazinski's out of UCSD.
I mean, in your research on this, has there been any?
There's really no side effects.
Detriment? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean,
No.
has there been a reason that they're not really doing this with humans?
No, not that I've seen no detrimental effects were detected.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing about this is that it dies off fast.
So this says hand function improves significantly in chase-treated monkeys relative to vehicle-injected controls. Moreover, chase significantly increased
corticospinal axon growth.
Thank you. Axonal growth. And the number of the synapses formed by cortiscope. Help me with that word.
It's okay. We're not getting you on the mic anyway.
Oh, test.
Corticospinal terminals.
Corticospinal terminals and gray matter. Caudal to the lesion. No detrimental effects were detected. Man, that seems pretty huge.
Now, are they having to do like PT while doing this, like with the dogs and with this? I mean, are they 6 months of still exercising it?
Yeah, they would show and that's one of the things the dogs have to do. Kind of like a little physical therapy. Deal with their owners, do it and everything like that. But
has there been any follow up on that since then? This was in 2017.
I don't know. I'd have to ask.
It would be really interesting to figure out where those animals are at now, how they've performed. I mean, man,
and so that's about what I'm operating.
Can you go back to
right
that picture
now
real quick?
Is about a C6, C7. So my original injury is about a C4, C5. I dislocated my C5 vertebrae and had lock facets over my C6. And so, when the paramedics came up and ran their fingers up and down the backside of my neck, I have what they call a step off.
Okay.
And so, pretty much I didn't break any bone. It just dislocated it, popped in place, and it caused a crimp in my spinal cord and kind of loss of blood flow and everything. Almost like a big bruise. But it was caused by those cells.
But then so you didn't break your neck or your back or anything like that. It just basically kind of came out of socket or out of place?
So if they're lined up like this, mine came out and dropped down like this. And so the two worst pains I ever felt in my life were popping my neck out of place and then popping it back into place. They had to put a halo on, and Emily said that they had they had me laying down flat on the table and just a weight like on a string, and they just had to slowly start lowering it down till it popped back in place.
God, man.
Yeah, it was rough, but hey,
wow.
You know what?
You're a tough dude, though.
Well, you know, it's a really honoring position to be in now because I mean, I love my job at the fire department. I would give anything to go back there, but then I also want to give anything up to be where I'm at today.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's just been such an incredible path that God's put me down to be able to experience these things, and especially for the amount of people I've been able to talk. I have zero college education or anything like that, and you know, these doctors and researchers are like, "Hey, tell us more about this."
Dude, Devon, I mean, that's amazing, bro.
That is amazing.
I mean, you have really, really, really done some research, man, and very knowledgeable. And to hear you talk is really, really impressive.
I'm just some dumb fireman who hangs out in his garage.
Well, I don't know if I'd say
takes
that.
mushrooms
Takes mushrooms in his
reads.
garage.
God's using you, man.
But you are in a unique position to really be somebody who forwards this research.
Yeah.
And it's honestly, man, it's kind of shocking that it hasn't been pushed more forward than it is right now.
I truly believe that if I can find a physician who's willing to take the risk with me, I mean, look, I'm putting my life up for the risk. I mean, but I'm so positive that this would work that there's no risk to be taken. So I just need somebody to help me try this out. I mean, I already know all there is to know about it.
Yeah.
Now I can tell you what's actually going to work. So if you try it out on me, I can tell you, okay, this is what I'm seeing from the chondroitinase because I've already done 4 years of mushrooms.
Yeah.
I know it's not the mushrooms that are causing this to come back, but the mushrooms are going to help stimulate that regeneration after you take out that roadblock.
Sure.
What if it was a scientist or a doctor from another country? Would you be open to that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it all depends because I mean, I want this to be as scientific and as provable as possible because if this works, it'll catapult spinal cord injury research 15 years into the future. So, and I mean, I'm even talking about just the very basic chondroitinase. They call it native. Now you got Molly Soichet up in Canada. She has a mutated form of it that it lasts longer and eats away more of the scar tissue. You got Bradbury and Muir over like in England who they're doing like a viral vector delivery system. Tazinski, I think, was using mRNA. Cohen, his company first really started looking into it like way back when.
Is that the issue? Like, if you found something that ate away all the scar tissue, would everything be able to regenerate? Do they think?
Well, I mean, again, this is just my thought and my theory is that the cells, the spinal cord's still there. You know, all those, since I didn't break or tear or anything like that, all those cords and fibers and everything, they're still there. And again, I'm some dumb fireman. I don't know about
But this is basically what happened with the dogs,
matrices.
though, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is the mechanism that got them.
Well, and theirs might have been due to like a multiple sclerosis or myelopathy type of deal. So it's all different kinds of
but it still shares the same.
Exactly.
Yeah. The characteristics are the same.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, I think if I just try it out on myself, then you know, do my physical therapy along with the mushrooms and everything else. And of course, I've dabbled with like DMT and everything to see what those work out. But mushrooms have been probably the safest, most consistent thing I found that works the best for me.
And what you're saying essentially is that all the cords are in place, all the nerves are there, but the scar tissue is basically creating a blockage, so the signals can't be sent.
Exactly.
Right? And if these chondroitinase can eat away the scar tissue, then the signal, it's like repairing an electrical line.
Exactly.
Right? The
and then the mushrooms can actually help sprout new serotonergic axonal sprouting from the dorsal horn of the spinal cord. So if you have
Explain
those,
that a little bit.
Yes, in the blowhole of the Philophagus denatalus.
What about the flux capacitor? Where does that play into all this?
just meaning that psilocybin mushrooms could hold the potential to cause new sprouting of things that are needed to make me start moving again.
Repair,
Yeah.
basically. Okay.
Or remake, or even just boost the signal up.
I mean,
Do you believe the answer's there naturally on God's green earth? Do
Oh,
you
100%.
believe-
I mean, everything that I've looked at, I mean, chondroitinase ABC, it's an enzyme from a bacteria. Mushrooms, I mean, those mushrooms are the most perfect thing that God could ever put here for us. It's just it's up to us to learn how to use them the right way.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole hallucinogenic effect is almost like its way of saying, hey, you took too much. Don't
Yeah.
take that much again.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's a good way to look
Warning
at it. dude.
almost,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
That's a good way
they
to
didn't
look
kill
at
you.
it.
Yeah.
And so, that's the other thing too is I think Paul Stamets said it, about 98% of the mushrooms are edible, and everything like that. 1% of them are hallucinogenic, and 1% of them are deadly.
Yeah.
So everything that God creates in perfection, Satan tries to counterfeit, to kill us. And so if you even just look at those numbers, 98% of them completely fine.
Yeah.
But just 1 and 1. Think if it was 50 and 50.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But since it's just 1 and 1,
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it leads merit of
Right.
and all that.
Well, and
Yeah.
I think it's interesting too, because obviously on my dad's program and show, like we're always kind of taught the dangers of mycotoxins, not necessarily the mushroom itself, but the mycotoxins finding our way into our food, into alcohol, and all that. And that's definitely a place that we need to be aware of. But when you're talking about benefits of psilocybin, I mean, man, it sounds like there's some really exciting stuff.
Well,
that can really help out a lot of people,
100%. You bring up mycotoxins in our food and everything. I think one of the biggest contributors to mycotoxins in our food is manufactured citric acid.
Oh man! After that
we were
talk,
talking about this with
oh my
Ganino the other
gosh!
day.
Everything I'm telling my wife now. Her shampoo's
same.
got citric acid in
I
it.
did not want to learn what that. I did not want to
mold.
learn what that was.
Between
man.
citric acid being black mold
And
and
beaver
natural
anal
flavors
glands.
being beaver anal
Yeah.
glands.
Yeah.
taking
right.
everything
Like,
from
what
me,
are we
man.
eating right now?
Yeah. So for the viewer, citric acid comes from lemons, right? Which is perfectly fine. But there's also a citric acid which comes from Aspergillus mold, which is what's
in
your
everything.
Which is
processed
much
food.
more common of a way to use it in foods and drinks.
So, yes, citric acid was first manufactured, I think, in 1907 or 1917. As far as using it to grow on lemons, Aspergillus niger on lemons, feeding it fermented corn syrup.
Yeah.
Now, in 1958, the USDA, or it was either USDA or FDA, said that, hey, you got to start telling us everything like that. But it did not include stuff before 1958. So, citric acid is okay with that. So,
Aspergillus niger is superior to other microorganisms for the commercial synthesis of citric acid because it is better production yield. It is easy to handle, can ferment various cheap raw materials, and delivers high yields.
So the way that
There it is. There you have it.
The way that they do is they grow it on the lemons, and they
Right.
take it, they run it through a lime precipitation,
Right.
and then they have to add sulfuric acid to it to actually get citric acid.
The result, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if you look up citric acid, citric acid, what's the sensitivities? Watch this. I was reading this earlier today because
Citric acid allergy symptoms can range from mild to severe, including hives, skin inflammation, and difficulty breathing. Other signs can include abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. In extreme cases, anaphylaxis can occur, which necessitates immediate medical attention.
So really, the biggest thing about it, though, is skin inflammation, abdominal pain, nausea. So just think about just people who deal with Crohn's disease or IBS or anything else like that, or just even just inflammation of their joints and everything.
Yeah.
This is probably the main culprit because I mean it's in everything.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and it's a black mold. Your literally
Exactly.
body is having
Ingesting
exactly your
mycotoxins.
body is trying to get rid of or having this effect because of it.
Yep.
Wow, man. Yeah, that's a terrifying thing. I remember Ganino talking to us about that, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, God has put everything here in perfect order for us. So it's like even humic acid.
Yeah.
Did I tell y'all?
I don't know much about that. No.
Oh, okay. This is a cool little thing that I didn't really
Share the wealth.
Okay, so Levi was helping me plant some plants the other day, and his finger was infected. He had a little ingrown fingernail and everything. I was like, oh man, it's gonna suck. We're gonna have to, pop that, squeeze all that stuff out. It's like, oh no. I was like, all right, well, let's just go plant these plants, and we'll talk about it later. So we're out there, and the potting soil I had humic acid in it. It was fortified with humic acid. So we're sitting there, all that stuff. Well, 2 days later, his finger's completely healed up.
What?
I was like, wait a second. I was like, did you and your mom do something? He's like, no. I was like, all right. I was like, I got to figure this out now. And so I was like, well, what's in this dirt that helped him? So I started reading humic acid is used to help fight influenza, swine flu, bird flu, and then and it's really good at fighting off infection and everything.
So
Really?
Yeah.
it says
That's really cool.
We go back real quick, Brett.
Just type in humic acid and flu.
Humic acid are complex molecules that exist naturally in soils, peats, oceans, and fresh waters.
Whoa.
That is so cool.
People
That's cool.
sometimes
That's
use
so
humic
cool.
acid to stimulate the immune system for infections and many other purposes.
Yeah.
And so that was, I
Oceans
started
like
laughing to
saltwater.
myself. I was like, that really gives some merit to rub some dirt on it.
Yeah.
Hey, that's true. In oceans,
these
like
days.
salt water.
Yeah.
So when my wife and I lived in the islands, when the locals would get sick, they would say go down to the ocean and like snort the salt water.
Dude, and I can vouch for that.
And you could vouch for that too because you did it when we were out there. But like,
Thank you.
that's interesting. Obviously, with all the minerals and the saline and with the humic acid, now that makes total sense.
Yeah.
God has created
Everything.
everything perfectly,
Yeah.
and we're over here trying to like.
We've just complicated it.
Yeah, I know.
We've just been distracted
Goodness.
by these other things.
Goodness.
It happens. It happens. It's human nature.
Oh.
But it's good to have, discussions like this and to hear from people like you who are trying to further out this research that's so important. Man, kudos, because I know it's a big, big job, but man, you have educated yourself to a very fine degree with this stuff, man.
I try
You really
to.
have. You really, really have.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to learn, and
Sure.
I'm constantly a student, and I always say, look, well, especially when I'm talking like actual research, I'm like, look, you guys are the smart ones.
Yeah.
It's like I'm just telling you what I've read and what I've experienced, and then
Amen.
if I'm
Yeah.
wrong, tell me where I'm wrong, and I'll
Sure.
try and figure it out
Sure.
to make it right.
So ideally, what happens next now? You have your foot in the door with these researchers. They seem interested in exploring. What has to happen next in order for them to give you clearance on this?
Again, I think it's just trying to find a doctor who would help me approach the FDA and put some of these pieces together just to.
Jeffrey Nichols was not.
Well, see, he's a veterinarian, and
Okay.
and we're getting ready. We're going to do. We're submitting for another chondroitinase study with dogs, and we're actually using Molly Shoichet's chondroitinase from Canada. So, and I've worked with her in the past on a different project with pigs, and so I'm really excited at the opportunity to see what her product, or what her lab has developed, and how long and how much more return it will give these dogs. But for me, I want to go back to what the original study was, just the very basic.
Yeah.
So in that way, put it in baseball terms, not trying to hit a home run, just trying to lay down a bunt and get on base.
Sure.
So if I can show that just the very basic of this is one, safe, and can even just provide a little bit, then one, it'll help all the other labs out who are looking at this chondroitinase and who are modifying and everything else like that. But it would show proof of concept in that it would work in humans and would be safe.
Man, it's so interesting, Devon. So interesting. So, I mean, is there a moral reason why any doctor would say, no, I'm not going to test this on you? I mean, it seems like overall it's been pretty safe, right?
Yeah. I mean, of course, I think it all comes down to the surgery.
Yeah.
And I think that might be where, okay, is this a necessary, unnecessary? But, I mean, somebody's got to be willing to take the risk to further science. I mean, we're willing to do it with shooting people up into Mars.
Yeah.
People are, I mean, hell, the Starliner's still sitting up there. And they're not even coming
back. The Starliner's coming back, but they're not.
That's a terrifying scenario.
They're having to send SpaceX up there to go pick them up.
Yeah, they need Elon's help. Shocker.
Good man. Well, I want to get Devon's reaction on the
Which one?
slap of the bass.
Oh yeah. Here, Brett, I'm gonna text you this.
Okay, here we go.
Slap of the bass.
This will take me.
Is this from I Love You, Man?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's what that's from.
That
Though.
is,
Yeah.
I was about to say that's one of my favorite movies.
Slap of the bass.
Slap of the bass.
No.
No, this is
going to give a whole new
dude
meaning.
Who, honestly, Mark and I want to get this guy on the show.
Okay.
Please.
So do you have
Really?
a consistent schedule that you microdose?
Every day.
Every day.
Every morning. It's just part of my vitamins now. It's I take 100 milligrams. I take vitamin D, vitamin C. I take a probiotic, and I mean all of those. I mean, they all work together.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that I take works synergistically together, and so my quality of life has gone through the roof.
It's amazing. Man.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
And it just kind of helps elevate your baseline. Like you don't feel euphoric every day after
No,
you
I
take
don't
it.
feel there's no like psychological. Now, granted, I may think that it helped me learn all this stuff, because when you start looking at all the different pathways that it induces whenever
That's
you're
an
on
interesting
it,
point.
Yeah, it is.
that
It could
maybe
do away
that's
with.
why.
You think it could do away with like Adderall and stuff?
Oh, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is really cool,
It
dude.
is, man. Have you done like AB things? Like, have you noticed a change when you don't take it? Have you like ever not taken it?
Oh yeah.
Recently, at least, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, usually my pain will just kind of set back in.
Okay.
More.
Have you noticed is the pain any better than it was like naturally before?
What do you mean?
I wonder. I don't know. Like, I wonder if
Not as intense.
not as intense, or
Right.
like I wonder. Like, I guess that I'm asking: is it plausible that the microdosing could have, over time, taken away some of the intensity of the pain?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, to where
So
I used to be like at a
interesting.
5 or a 6.
Yeah.
Now I'm like my baseline's like at a 3 or 4.
If you don't
man.
take it.
No, now that he takes it, it's lower.
But if you stop taking it, though.
Oh yeah. That's
Yeah,
what
if I
stopped
stopped taking it, my
taking it.
baseline would probably be a 3 or 4, whereas before it would probably be like a 5 or
Okay,
6.
that's what I was saying.
it's,
Okay,
it's
great.
helped subdue the pain over time.
Okay.
If you don't take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Dude, that's insane. Okay.
okay,
yeah,
we
check
got this
guy
video
out.
queued
Okay.
up.
I want to know if there's any benefit from it.
Just to knead your balls. You don't have to slap them. I like just grasp them and like massage them. And roll them. Roll them like a circle. Elixir, yes. Roll them like a circle. You can also roll them this way. You can get into your groin. You get in there and you move it around. You massage because you have lymph flow, blood flow, and chi flow. Chi is the energy of life. When you have low chi, eventually you're dead. And your Jing life force energy in Chinese methodology is in your kidneys. And so when you slap them, you can feel the energy go all the way up in
Slapping his
and then 2-3 years later, now I'm addicted to it. I get out of a cold bath or a cold shower, slap the balls, the body up. But it's so exhilarating. And lo and behold, this type of activity increases semen production and testosterone. That's where your testosterone's manufactured.
Wow.
I think that he just needs psilocybin.
Balls,
I think he
yeah.
just needs psilocybin.
100%.
Save yourself the pain, brother.
You know what's interesting about that is like I look at guys like that and I'm like, is
Brett's like, this has nothing to do with this episode.
the look on Brett's face? What did I just
What are we
watch?
doing?
I just love like Devon's reactions on things.
I think it's kind of interesting because to me, I'll watch that and I'm like, this dude probably said that for views and for likes and for shares. But the honest truth of it is, I'll bet you that dude does all of that. So
I bet he's a Christian that just prays every morning and lives the happiest life, and then he goes on camera and he's like, I slap my balls and I drink my own piss. And everybody's like, I want to look like him.
That's also the dude who drank his own.
Yes, that's the guy. We got to play that for Dr. G too when he comes on.
What do you think about this, Dr. G?
Okay, so let's get your thoughts, Devin.
Devin, is there any truth
value
to this,
to
do you
that?
think?
I mean, I used to slap my balls
That's all
before I ended up in the chair. So
thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next week. Dude, so good. So good. What a trip, man.
Sorry, that was totally random. But
no, I love it.
Should we? Is now a great time to get on to the favorite Bible verse, or should we say that?
Yeah. Do you want to do that now or after the slap your balls?
I'm sorry.
Have y'all ever seen what Mercury does in the presence of a electromagnet?
No, you have some?
Wait, yeah.
You have some on you?
Oh no, no! But I want to because this is the other thing I'm getting into too.
Well, I went to the office the other day and I was telling everybody about the Baghdad battery. But I was tripping everybody out.
Oh yeah,
dude. Yeah, no, you got to find it. You got to find a video. Mercury electric. Yeah, right there, top one. So this one's super cool. So Mercury, of course, is a diamagnetic. I don't even know how to say it, to be honest with you. Turkey tail is fantastic. Reishi, all those. Those are all great.
Listening to us.
Mushroom ads. Okay, here we go.
So, and then this is what's really. I think this is where you can start digging into like 0-point energy and stuff like that. So that's a copper bowl. That's just a regular magnet right there.
Okay.
And it's hooked up. So.
Glad you're here to explain it because I would have no idea what I'm looking at.
No, I agree.
So copper is another diamagnetic. I mean, so it doesn't really have magnetism to it.
Okay.
But it, and again, I'm still learning all this stuff. But it has like extra electrons. So when it comes into contact with an electromagnetic field, it can line up in certain ways. Same thing with mercury. So, what he's doing here is he's just getting ready to make it to where he can add an magnet force to it.
What's this that he's putting on?
It's just to not allow the mercury to go underneath that.
Gotcha.
And so, it's just a lot of setup right here. But what's really cool about this, sorry, I know it's a little bit longer video, but go ahead. He's going to just add the mercury. He's just getting all this set up.
Okay, so that's the mercury he's got in his hand there.
Yep.
And now the charge is in?
No. This still isn't charged. So it's sitting on a magnet, just a regular magnet.
Okay.
Copper. It's a copper bowl, pouring liquid mercury into it, sitting on top of a magnet. And now we're getting ready to add the electricity.
Every time I see mercury, I just makes me think of T2.
T1000.
Same exact thing.
All right.
What in the hell?
Whoa.
It moves into a vortex pattern with direct current.
Wow.
So what this means, I have no idea, but I want to learn more about
No,
it.
it's really cool.
And it goes the opposite way.
Did it move backwards? Oh,
Yeah.
Dude, interesting.
But it accelerates too.
Yes. Yeah, so I don't know what it means, but I got to learn more about it.
But it sure is cool.
Is mercury
I just had to show
naturally
that.
occurring?
Dude, that is wild.
That is really cool.
Yes.
So tell everybody about your theory
About, the Statue of Liberty?
about the Statue of Liberty.
I think the Statue of Liberty was meant to be a giant electrical conductor or bring in free electricity.
Right.
Because of of course, the Baghdad battery.
For those who don't know, what is the Baghdad battery?
I really don't know that much either. So here's the Baghdad battery.
This is his side research. The Baghdad battery is a name given to a set of 3 artifacts which were found together: a ceramic pot, a tube of copper, and a rod of iron.
Okay, so all those 3 together, and again, this goes back to kind of like learning about copper and magnetism and everything else like that, you know, positive charges, negative charges. So I truly believe that the Statue of Liberty, especially if you look at its construction, it's copper on the outside, iron steel on the inside, sitting on a giant clay base surrounded by salt water. Yeah, so all those together, I'm sure, have some sort of electrical conductivity.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the Statue of Liberty was given to us by the French in the like 1874, 75-ish area.
Which I've always thought that narrative seemed a little strange.
Exactly.
They just made this beautiful thing and just gave it to
great job. You guys did freedom better. Let's give you a gift.
For 100 years.
Congratulations. Here's a huge statue.
The French hate us.
I'm buying into this. I can buy into it.
So, but Nikola Tesla was also studying over in France about that same time, and he was, you know, dealing with, you know, electricity, magnetism, all different kinds of stuff. Oh yeah, look at that, Statue of Liberty. So yeah, I don't think that again, I don't think the French are like, hey, yeah, just here you go. I think Tesla had some sort of hand in designing of the Statue of Liberty to bring in free energy that was supposed to go and feed electricity to New York City.
And which means you couldn't make money, so they exited.
Exactly. So Westinghouse, I believe, was the one who bought Tesla's patent for the alternating current, whatchamacallit. And I think all of his other stuff just got stolen and black shelf to where it would never, because you can't put a meter. J.D. Power said you can't put a meter on free electricity. So
where do you think the narrative came from that it was just a gift from the French?
I don't know. I think that's, and again,
look that up, man.
We've always been told, and of course, this is why I'm looking into homeschool, because so much of our school books and everything have been tainted by nefarious.
That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah, so
it has.
Look, I don't want to get...
There you go. Look at the screen here. This is why. It's really hard to believe,
In 1865, a French politician, intellectual, and anti-slavery activist named Eduardo de la Boule proposed that a statue representing liberty be built for the United States. This monument would honor the United States centennial of independence and the friendship with France.
Seems like a very large...
It seems like a big gift for something.
Yeah.
I mean,
of a lot of metal.
That's a nice event, but
I'm not buying it.
It's like me buying my wife a house for our dating anniversary.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
You know,
Very bizarre.
it seems a little extreme.
So I think there's a giant switch on there somewhere that can turn it on and just start pulling in free electricity.
Oh, dude, we saw something crazy earlier, dude.
What?
With the airplane that you were showing me?
Oh, dude. Yes, Brett's thing.
The Brett's thing, yeah. Check this out, dude.
Yeah, you want to talk
this
about
might be a better
theory?
reaction than slapping the bass, but...
No, we're keeping slapping the bass.
Should we keep that in?
Devin's reaction was the best one.
He said, I used to slap him.
So, Brett can set this up better than I probably could. But remember the Malaysian flight that just disappeared?
Have you seen this video?
No, I haven't seen this video, but I had a whole nother theory about that too.
Oh, check this out.
Well, this one might influence your other theory a little bit.
Awesome.
This is weird.
No, I don't know if I can get to it.
Okay.
Dude, these things aren't bad.
No, they're really good.
Yeah. You want to try one of these?
I'm good. I would like to, but I'm about to fall asleep over here.
I'm tired as is.
Shirt's riding up my back.
I'm about to go get one of those espressos over there.
Oh, yeah. Do you want one?
I kind of do.
Yeah, dude. I'll make you one.
Did you bring that?
This stuff?
No, the espresso machine?
No. Ethan brought it in. Oh, wait.
Okay, so this is basically, let me just set it up real quick, that this is basically,
You guys watch this. I'm gonna get it.
this guy thinks that Malaysia, the missing flight, there were about 6, give or take, scientists on there. They were semiconductor chip scientists. They were working for the U.S. government. They were Chinese nationals. And they were flying back to Malaysia en route to go to Beijing to deliver some very sensitive information that the government did not want them to have.
Okay.
And so the idea behind this, now this is This is infrared footage, and this is satellite footage of these orbs orbiting this plane.
Okay.
And the idea is that it's not alien technology. It's actually our technology that we've had from the 50s.
Right.
And they triangulate this plane, and then boom, this wormhole opens up. And the U.S. government knew that they were going to do this. The Chinese government, they knew that the Chinese government was watching this plane because they wanted that information.
Right.
And this was a way of the U.S. government to say, hey, don't fuck with us. We have stuff that you couldn't even dream of.
Love it.
And so he pulled up this footage.
Yeah,
There's the one
video's been
orb.
on the internet since 2014.
Second one
we've
comes
been able
in.
to trace
Third
it back
one
to
comes
an
in.
account called Regicide Anon. The very first video, satellite video, says received March 12th,
And this is actual infrared
2014,
footage
source
of the
protected.
flight, according to
It was published
this
May
guy,
19th,
Ashton Forbes, I believe
2014.
his
This is
name is.
9 days before the raw
And you can
telemetry
see the
data of
vortexes
satellite
going
pings
around
were
it.
first available to the public. And that's why it's so important when we see those coordinates in the bottom left. The second video was supposedly received June 5th, 2014, published June 12th, 2014,
Nice.
on the same channel. Most people ignored this footage. A lot of people have.
All right.
That's the story.
No, look, there's definitely stuff because frequency and vibrations, there's so much in that stuff that we don't even realize and that has been hidden from us and taken from us. I mean, look at all the bells that were taken from us during World War II.
What do you mean?
Oh, dude,
The bells?
Yeah, look up bells. There's no more. No, I'm good. Thank you though. There's no more bells.
What are you talking about, bells?
Yeah. Yeah, look at all the bells taken.
Why?
So I mean, if you think about bells,
Approximately 175,000 bells were taken during World War II.
and they were going to say that they were going to use them for, like melting them down for,
Well, who
whatever
do you think
else.
took the bells?
Well, bells. All right. So think of the frequency and vibration, right? We all have frequency and vibrations. I mean, it's like, hey, you and I vibe, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a vibration. So, we got good vibrations or frequencies. So bells and everything. So think about what used to be almost in every center of town.
Yeah, a bell.
A church bell or
Yeah.
whatnot. It would ring on a single day or whatnot.
Yeah.
That frequency and vibration would go out through the town and put everybody on the same frequency, same vibration, get everybody in tune with one another.
Yeah.
Now we don't have bells anywhere. All these frequency, and you can use them for coordinated like sound attacks and everything like that.
But okay, so that's interesting, dude.
Yeah.
So what about like in the Muslim countries whenever they sound off on the thing for prayer time?
Their horns?
Kind of same thing, right?
Probably, yeah.
Same idea?
Yeah, because you're still putting out a sound and frequency, vibration. Oh,
Dude, that's
Now,
crazy.
what's
But hold on,
interesting-
but why do you think they took them though? Just they don't want us to be on the same page?
No. I think there's more to do with frequency and vibrations as far as like human beings go than what we're so far disconnected from our natural world that God put us in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so, I mean, this is another one of my little thoughts and theories is that we're in a battle between technology and nature. Mm-hmm. So even just take it into account of like our cars that we drive these days. Back in the day, you may have a radio or whatnot, but everybody rode with their windows down, just smelling the fresh air, paying attention to what was around them, everything like that. But now everybody has headphones in. Everybody's watching a screen. Nobody's paying attention to anything that's around them. It's like when they're driving.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate
It's like even just a simple fact of, driving across country, we would almost rather fly and miss everything in between. We're
That's
constantly trying to find ways to insulate ourselves further from the world.
Do you think a lot of that was done by design, or do you
Oh,
think that it just-
100%. Yeah.
No, I do
God
too.
made us natural beings. We're supposed to be
Right.
of nature. That's why so much of our stuff that heals us comes naturally from nature.
and becomes illegal over time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. Look at all the stuff that's legal.
Dude.
Yeah,
Right.
it's like I was listening to an ad for Rexulti today.
Yeah.
and it's a depression medication that you add on to your depression medication. So like when your depression medication isn't working enough, take Rexulti, but just be careful because this may cause more depression and suicidal tendencies.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm like,
your right eye
that
could
just
fall out.
huh?
And your right eye could fall.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. Isn't that insane?
yeah.
Well, what's interesting about this vibration and frequency situation is that there was this doctor named Rife back in the 50s. Have you heard of him? The Rife machine? So he claimed to use electromagnetic frequencies. He would study cells under a microscope. He got like into Johns Hopkins at 12. He was brilliant. He created a microscope that you could see 4,000 times or something insane. And so he would look at these cells and he exposed cancer cells with regular human cells to a certain vibrational frequency, a radio wave or a sound, basically. And when viewing it under the microscope, he saw that the cancer cell literally exploded while the other cells were unharmed. And so this right here, Rife and his supporters say that all medical conditions have an electromagnetic frequency. And so that's where it comes back to your point of everybody on the same frequency. And that's where when people say, oh, I don't like their energy, I don't like his energy, it's you're operating on a different wavelength.
And a different frequency and
Different
vibration.
frequency, yes.
Is the Rife machine used in modern day medicine?
No, because he was completely destroyed for his work. The AMA, the American Medical Association, took him down, brought a lawsuit against him.
No
The
kidding.
jury foreman...
Because of the machine?
Because of the machine. The jury foreman was actually a board member of the AMA, too. They convicted him, they took his license away, and he died broke and drunk.
Wow. See, dude, that's
Whoa.
dude. They do that to a lot of
Just like Tesla.
and the gentleman who created the nuke.
Oppenheimer?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bro. Same thing.
Yep.
See,
Bad guys. Those are some bad guys. Dude, that's insane, though, man. I didn't know about the Rife machine. That's really, really interesting. And it makes sense. I mean, if you treat, something that essentially is a frequency, because everything is, right? But if you treat that with a sound or frequency, can you, destroy it or grow it even?
I want to know where the plane went, though. Do you think it went to the spiritual realm?
The plane thing's crazy.
No, I think that they can, if it works the way that they say, it can open up another portal. It's almost like teleporting, so they can put it where they want it. And I would imagine. I mean,
Where do you think it went?
But what happens when you go through it? Do you?
Well, is it CERN who's like trying to work on like opening up portals and like dimensions? Isn't that a thing? CERN, the company from. You know what I'm talking about?
It's the Switzerland.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's the
Rock and roll,
It's like
man.
an electro
particle accelerator.
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 What was
Yeah.
he doing? What was the thing in it wasn't Waco?
Oh yeah, I saw
The underground
what
where
was
they would
that?
do the atoms?
Yeah.
I've been there.
Have you?
No, because it was shut down, but there was a trucking company that we were buying the fleet from that was leasing that place like years afterwards. But it's the
I know what you're talking about.
what's it called, man? It's where they were colliding the atoms together.
Yeah, a particle accelerator.
That's basically what they're doing
Yeah,
in
in CERN.
Switzerland, right?
Only
yeah.
on a
But see,
much larger
much
scale.
larger.
We were
scale.
already doing that, dude. Here in Texas, like what, 20 years ago?
Dude, you know what's interesting? They were talking about the CERN stuff. Like this was like last year. This was probably over Christmas. They were like days away, I think, from testing capabilities of, and I'm sure this is not entirely factual or accurate, but they were trying to like open up some type of dimension, right? Wasn't that like generally the idea behind it?
I think what the concern was is that they were going to make a black hole.
Right.
By accidentally doing this and create a black hole here on Earth and just everything gets sucked into
just
it.
falls
that's
into
a
it.
great idea.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Wonderful thinking. Let's spend my
Hey,
time.
we can't get a clinical trial for psilocybin tested on, but we could
Yeah.
go ahead and let's create a black
But-
hole, suck everything
But
in.
we can do this though. But that's what's interesting, man. Like I never heard another thing about it. Like maybe it just didn't work.
Brett, can
maybe
this
it
go
worked
into
really
like
well.
two different episodes?
That
Depends
was
on how long
that's
they
the
go.
theory.
Because now
though,
we're
is
on, like,
that
funny,
Whenever
cool stuff.
CERN did do that experiment a few years back, is that it actually bumped us over into a different timeline, and so we're on. Yeah,
You know what's
is that we're bumped over onto
I'm
a
here
different
for it, man.
But you know-
I'm here
timeline.
for it.
But you know what
Wow.
though? You know what's cool? Christ.
Oh, 100%.
He already teleported. When he went to the other side of the lake of Galilee, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
His disciples got in the boat and he was already over there.
Yeah. That's a nice transition, by the way.
It is.
Very well done.
I'm over here thinking about
this show is ridiculous because it starts out on like some really like groundbreaking stuff that you're like kind of heading up. Then it goes into conspiracy theories.
Well, I was just telling Brett, like, should it be like that, like a separate like extend like a separate like of our like the funny conversation, like the conspiracy theories? Should it be like its own little
yeah.
Like
or like break it
short
up into like another show or something?
That's what I'm saying. Break it up into another show.
Yeah.
Well,
maybe so.
Look, I love conspiracy theories, but then I always go right back to you. Like everything, God's already done it.
He's already done it, dude.
Yeah.
So that's how I can live so carefree these days. I'm just like,
I did that already.
It's already done, guys. Yeah.
Oh, my prayer every day is just like, God, give me the knowledge and the wisdom that I need to have so in that way I can speak to these people. But only give me the things that I need to know because I don't need to know
That's
everything.
a really beautiful prayer. That's a really beautiful
The
prayer.
Bible
that's only
also
part of it,
contains
but-
examples of appearances which also are easily explained with the use of the fourth dimension. Twice. Go ahead.
Room, the discipline. Oh, go ahead.
Twice Jesus entered the room of the disciples without using a door. Entering a room through its walls is only possible via the fourth dimension.
Now we're getting
Brown.
brainy, man. Now we're getting brainy.
That's
I mean,
Brown
Fourth
University.
dimension. I mean, he just did that because he's Christ, dude.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Jesus did that because Jesus can do whatever Jesus wants to.
Well, I think that's what, like, we're living in the third dimension, but we're in that, we're physical beings in that spiritual world. So that spiritual world is that fourth dimension.
Fourth dimension, correct.
That we cannot access. But honestly, I think some of those psychedelics like DMT and everything, and again, this is where you have to be careful because I think you're able to access that.
That's what kind of scares me, though, for sure.
But you're going in there kind of on your own.
Yeah.
I'm interested in your thoughts on this, Devon, because my thought is that, and I'm saying this as like a person who hasn't ever experienced any of that before. My thought on that is, are we not just having a reaction where we're just kind of lost in our own head? Are we truly entering? Because people who do this like genuinely agree, like, yes, you are entering a new dimension. You are able to talk to God, like all of this crazy stuff. I'm looking at it, I think, more pragmatically, probably because I haven't done it.
Right.
But
That's blinking.
you think that we go into like this whole other realm?
Until you, so like I've only done DMT twice.
Yeah.
And I only kind of microdosed it.
Oh, okay.
How long do we have? Because I want to hear this.
I'll wrap it up.
Oh.
So DMT, the one time I did it, or the two times I did it, really kind of both the same experiences, but it affects my body differently. And again, I'm doing all this for see what the effects are physically.
Yeah.
But the first time I tried DMT, I was using a pen. And I took, the one hit, and I was like, I'm only going to do one, see what happens. And I kind of laid my head down just because, I didn't know if I was going to spasm and wanted to just make sure that I was kind of stable and everything. So visuals kicked in super fast. But, like the artwork for Tool Lateralis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How it's just all like geometric and everything like that. It was like a door was opened for me. And I was able to kind of look into it. I mean, this room looked massive, but it looked small at the same time. It looked like it went on forever, but and it had those tool, like that geometric pattern of just like tools.
It sounds like a dream, kind of.
And I was sitting there looking in there, but it was like I was told you can only see in, you can't come in yet.
Is this the 3-layer thing?
Well, yeah. You had to take the 3 hits to go all the way, but and that's what it was. Is like it was almost like they told me like we'll let you see in here, but you haven't committed all the way yet.
Yeah.
Who's they?
Don't know.
Oh, goodness
that's
gracious,
the thing
bro.
is like it was a feeling of, and that's what it was. It was a feeling. It's not like I heard a voice or anything like that. It was just a feeling of being told like. You can look in, but you can't experience all
like
yet.
the 3. Do you know about that 3-dep thing?
No.
With DMT,
I don't know if I want to know.
This is weird. Well, so people who do it commonly say that they always have a chance to go 3 layers in. Somebody, something, or they just know inside that hey, they got to stop right here unless they take another hit.
Oh.
And then they take another hit, and then they can go to the next phase of it. And then there's another thing there that tells them no or something. And until you take the 3rd hit, no, this is a real common thing that
for sure.
people
No,
say.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm just laughing.
No, I know. But
I'm just thinking about something that I got to share.
But it is. But it's it's so. I thought that was the most bizarre thing that people are having the same kind of experience. They're having the same kind of stops. It seems like it's always 3. I haven't heard anything where it's not. But it's a really.
I just was thinking about because Eric. He's like my little brother. Dude.
Yeah.
He's worked with me for 10 years. He's like the little brother I've always wanted. But he told me this story. He was 15 or 16. He tried to do the. I still don't understand it, but these youngsters are all into this weird stuff. But he did something, and he's laying in the bathtub with ping pong balls over his eyes.
Okay.
You cut the ping pong balls in half, you put them over your eyes. It's supposed to do it's supposed to be the you said it earlier, the deprivation or something.
Oh, sensory deprivation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sensory deprivation.
So he's laying in the bathtub. He's laying in the bathtub with He cuts ping pong balls and he puts them on his eyes, and he's listening to static or something.
Yeah.
And these little youngsters are doing this stuff years ago,
see
bro.
Eric
And it's
doing
supposed to do something
Well, it's almost like the Stranger Things, 11 on Stranger Things.
Okay.
Which she would have to lay in the pool of salt water.
Oh, yeah.
So that way she could access that.
Okay.
That 4th dimension and everything.
I don't know what they were doing.
I did a sensory deprivation tank a while ago, and I really didn't enjoy it very much. I thought the first 20 minutes was cool, but then I was I get it.
Yeah, I didn't really dig it either. I went in there.
You know what I mean?
I went in there and I was with Brittany, and we were in one of those little pods.
Yeah.
And we just kept bumping into each other.
Yeah,
we were just laughing.
I just got bored. After a while, I was all right,
After
I
10 minutes, I was
here,
I think it's in my ear. I'm ready to get out of here. Let's go to the spa.
But our generation knows how to check out, I think, too.
Yeah, that's
we grew
true.
up
That's a
in
good
that
point.
phase where we didn't have it, and then now we have it with the technology. And these youngsters, they don't know what it's like. They've been,
They've got
iPads
everything
in their face and sensory overload.
Dude, my dad gave me
they've
a
been checking out since day
pager
one.
or not a pager. I wanted a pager, and my dad gave me a
What'd you have for your pager? What
garage
was it?
door opener.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
whenever.
so he could look cooler on his belt clip.
I walked around with a broken pager I found on the side of the road. I was
Yeah,
at least
dude.
I'll look cool.
And we were so
I got a
cool back
pager.
then.
Yeah.
The only person who ever paged me was my dad.
My dad.
My dad was the only one. I gave the number to a bunch of girls and everything. He's still the only one that ever texted.
hold on,
me,
guys.
whatever.
Page me.
Yeah.
And mine
My dad
always
loves
said,
me.
somehow he configured
the
mine
next
away
class.
to say, "Call me now, you little shit," because I was always in trouble.
Call me now.
All right, Devin, I got to say this has been awesome.
This has been a fun show, man.
Maybe you'll
Thank
come
you.
back next month.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm up for anything.
Well,
That's awesome.
I definitely want to keep up with you and hear about the journey. So how can people follow?
Colbert76 on Instagram is really the only thing I do, and I
Okay.
usually just post my workouts, and I don't know, I post a daily verse with my
Love it.
I
cloud
love that.
pictures just because
Great.
it's fun for me and I enjoy it, and it's one of my ways that I can spread the word.
So Colbert76 on Instagram?
Yep.
All right, cool. Follow
Put that in
along.
the description.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please tell a friend. Please share this video. Please do all the things to help us out. It means a lot to us. Thank you guys for sticking around. We'll see you on the next one.